Insane cost of being married to Meghan Markle. The insane amount of money it costs to keep Meghan Markle happy will either make you laugh or cry, or make you outright furious. Just for her and Harry's Netherlands trip, Meghan sported around $60,000 worth of designer clothes, jewelry, and accessories. But wait, don't be too impressed or too disgusted just yet. All of that was just in the space of 3 short days. Let's break down just one of her outfits on that trip. If you have $6,000 lying around, you can spoil yourself with this same white Valentino pantsuit. Or how about $1,400 just for those shoes? And see that tiny little shoulder bag in her hands? Well, that little Valentino shoulder bag is $3,800. And oh yes, don't forget about the $20,000 earrings. At least Meghan was kind enough to give her $3,000 coat to a Dutch lady who was there supporting her wife in the Invictus Games. So, who has to pay for her incredible life of luxury? And where does all the money come from for 2 people who don't really seem to have a steady job between them? Even before marrying into the royal family, Meghan already knew exactly how to get herself into magazines and how to get lucrative deals for herself.
Meghan Markle is a girl who would be on the phone to journalists trying to, get her picture in the paper.
You guys, thank you so much.
So she was a hustler trying to improve her standing on the celebrity ladder.
But her acting career only earned her about $450,000 a year. And by the time she married Prince Harry, she was only worth about $2 million. And make no mistake, she dived right into royal life. During her first year as Duchess of Sussex, her wardrobe cost an estimate of around $300,000 to $500,000. But wait till you hear this. Just this one gown during their royal tour of Morocco was estimated at around $120,000. But if you add the Dior Lame lambskin heels, the Dior DB gold satin clutch, and her Berg Snowstorm diamond earrings, her entire outfit adds up to about $145,000. That's more than double the average yearly US salary. And she wore it in one day. But back then, her insanely lavish lifestyle was paid for by the royal family and British taxpayers. But since leaving the royal family, Harry made it clear that his father had cut him off financially.
Hold up, wait a minute. Your family cut you off?
Yeah, in the first quarter of 2020. But I've got what my mum left me. And without that, we would not have been able to do this.
That, by the way, was not entirely true. Prince Charles apparently gave Harry a substantial sum after he and Meghan left the royal family. As far as speculation goes, it was about $8 million. Harry really made it seem so unfair that a 35-year-old man should be cut off financially by his dad. Don't mind the rest of us, Harry, who move out and find work to earn our own living without dad's help. And what Harry inherited from his mother was around $21 million. Which, as Harry said, is what made their move to the US possible, including their $14.7 million mansion, which has 6 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, a spa, and a library, so that Meghan can live in style and in comfort. But the massive mansion wasn't their only expense. Megs was not ready to give up on the expensive fashion. She showed up once again in an insanely expensive outfit at Global Citizen to preach about vaccine equity and to criticize wealthy countries for not sharing.
Every single person on this planet has a fundamental right to get this vaccine. That's the point, but that's not happening.
Her outfit proved her hypocrisy, preaching on behalf of impoverished countries while wearing a $4,500 white Valentino mini dress, $16,500 Cartier earrings, a $12,000 Cartier watch, and a $6,900 Cartier love bracelet. It may seem unreal to any regular human being, but that's the standard for Meghan Markle's outfits. But fashion is not the only thing Meghan splurges on. Her mental and physical health is also very important to her. from an estimated nearly $3,000 a year spent on Pilates classes, to around $3,000 a year for sweat sessions in an infrared sauna, to around $8,500 a year for acupuncture treatments. Then there's around an estimated $13,000 a year for therapy sessions for her mental health. Because while she was in the royal family, she and Harry were apparently both unable to see to it that Meghan received proper mental help.
Did you tell other people in the family, I need to get help for her, we need help for her?
That's just not a conversation that would be had.
Why?
I guess I was ashamed of admitting it to them.
Anyway, according to sources, Meghan's beauty and mental health regimen piles up to around a cool $59,000 a year. And it's not all just luxury and spoils. What about their bare necessities? Prepare for another shocker! Right after the couple exited the royal family, one news outlet estimated their living costs at around $6 million a year. That included things like their private security and mortgage to bring it to an insane total of around $500,000 a month. And don't forget their travel expenses. It's private all the way. For their visit to England for the Queen's Jubilee, Harry and Meghan's private jet was said to have cost around $200,000 one way.
Flew in from California. How did they get here? On a massive gas-guzzling private plane. They're the ones preaching to us about carbon footprint, and they're the ones using private planes like taxis. Sure. That's hypocrisy.
Compare that to the Prince William and Kate, who very regularly fly commercially, once famously paying only $89 a pop for their tickets on a commercial flight to go visit the Queen in her castle at Balmoral. And William and Kate aren't the ones preaching to us average folk about the environment and carbon emissions. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, do. And according to sources, their carbon footprint is actually about 26 times higher than that of the average person.
Climate change is a humanitarian issue, not a political one. And it's one where we've been far too slow in waking up to the issues and acting on the damaging impact our ways of living are having on the world.
So, how's that for hypocrisy? And not to sound too harsh, but for a high-profile couple who pride themselves on their charitable causes, are they spending enough money where it matters? For charity? Headlines are filled with news of their involvement in charity, but it's hard to find any real figures. The only concrete evidence was from 2020 when their personal foundation, Archwell, raised less than $50,000 for charity. There is, however, the reported $1.888 million that Meghan and Harry helped raise for global vaccination. But the key word here is helped. Turns out $440,000 was raised through individual donations, and the rest were raised by other funds, not Meghan and Harry. But let's get back to that nagging question. Where does Meghan and Harry's money come from? Yes, they are cut off from the royal family, but don't think they have stopped milking the royal cow for every single penny it's worth. Harry has a memoir in the works that reportedly got him a massive $20 million in advance. Then there's a reported $25 million deal with Spotify, which, by the way, Harry and Meghan are miserably failing to reach their end of the deal in providing content. They also have a multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix. But already one of Meghan's personal projects has been canceled by the streaming giant. Then there are the various interviews and TV shows that Harry has sat down to in the past year or so. But here's the thing, can you hazard a guess as to what most of these publishers have in common? Yep, they all want an exclusive slice of the royal pie. And so far, sharing royal secrets and dramas had been very lucrative for Meghan and Harry. But it looks like that royal cow has been milked dry now.
Some members of the royal family have been burned by what Harry and Meghan have said, especially on Oprah, and they don't like it. And so they'd be very careful what's said now in front of them. Because they could take that back to America and make it part of their commercial platform.
And that leaves Meghan and Harry in a sticky spot, potentially, especially when it comes to Spotify and Netflix, experts say.
The only projects that will get the green light from Netflix now will be very personal ones about the royal family. But it will have to be personal and it will have to involve the royal family.
Not all sources agree on Meghan and Harry's current worth, but it seems to be anywhere between $10 to $60 million. But that's not money in the bank. That figure includes their equities and properties, and current Netflix, Spotify, and book deals, and not all of which they've been paid for so far. So, if their livelihood really does rely on the relevance to the royal family, how many more secrets can they sell from the royal well before it eventually dries up? So, is Meghan living within her means, or is she maybe addicted to fame and fortune and luxury? Let us know what you think. And stay tuned for more royal bombshells.